say, Thando, that we as the nation, we don't really understand and know what these players have to go through in terms of leaving their family behind, in terms of the training, the intensive training, the practice, and everything, preparation to the World Cup. So it certainly has been a very long journey for them. It just didn't start a few weeks ago.
It's not. Sia kept talking about the 20 weeks that this team has spent in preparation for this tournament. But this is just 20 weeks within the Springbok camps. There's also time where you need to prepare to be part of the Springbok camp with the Stormers or the Lions or the Sharks. So you need to get into the Springbok setup. It's been a long journey. It's been a long 4-year journey. It's been a testing time emotionally for these players, where people were very vocal about how good and how bad these guys were. And somehow there were people who stood by these guys. There were wives and girlfriends who stood by these players.
And some of them were ignoring the DMs.
They had to. They had to.
Pimpi's DM was ignored for 4 years.
They had to. But in all of that, look, they all have their support systems, no matter who they are, whether it's parents, whether it's wives, it's girlfriends, it's siblings. They all have their different support systems, and those people played a very big role. Like we talked earlier about Sia playing for Grey PE. That would have meant him leaving his grandmother, Ezweed, and staying in hostel.
All right. Tell you what, we need to go back to the Orlando Stadium now. Our reporter Mnigelo Madala is standing by. Mnigelo, good afternoon to you. Once again, I see you surrounded by a number of fans there at Orlando Stadium. What's the mood like?
Good afternoon, Peter, and your people in studio. The Springboks are about to drive out of Orlando Stadium, but the big story out of Soweto today is that people waited on Vilakazi, people waited at the Hector Peterson Museum, and it seems the Springboks are not going to get to those two spots, and they're about to leave the stadium now. We hear that they're going over to the airport.
All right, so talk to us about the kids that are there. What are they saying to you?
There's a lot of dissatisfaction, as you can hear and see, Peter. The people are not happy that they didn't get to meet their heroes from the World Cup. But as it stands now, the Springs are driving out of Orlando, and we gather they're leaving for the airport. I'm guessing to get to Durban for tomorrow's leg of the trophy tour.
Nicola, are you going to talk to some of the fans there just to get a feel as to how they are feeling? They've seen these champions now. Just a few of them.
Let me speak to one person here, Baba.
Orlando Stadium, welcome, Springboks! But we are not happy. The police closed the gates. We are not going to get inside.
Orlando saphuma nje kade silele siphumulele sewumasiza sajabula kakhulu sumzansi Afrika siyabonga.
As you can see, Peter, and your guests, it's madness out here. The people are not happy because they didn't get to meet their heroes, but in the same breath, they are celebrating the victory of the World Cup.
Thank you.
All right, I think that's where we'll leave it there with Mnigelo, but we'll keep those images there. That's the victorious world champions, the Springbok team leaving Orlando Stadium now and leaving Orlando generally, and we believe they're going to the airport. So Vilakazi Street and Hector Peterson precinct didn't get the opportunity that they were hoping to get, but those that were at Orlando Stadium, excited, selfies taken, moments remembered, but it will be bittersweet for many.
It's a real pity because look at if you want to go to iconic venues, even if you stop over there for 5 minutes, you don't have to stop there for a long time. I think you would have made that little pass. But decisions have been made. The logistics people have made those decisions based on whatever information they have. But look, ultimately, some people saw them, and at least we're grateful for that, because we all know the cost of watching a Springbok match is rather steep, and at least for a moment, those few fans got to see their heroes, and yeah, they got to see them up close and personal, and they got to take those selfies with them, and maybe even a glimpse of the trophy.
I guess, like you said, there was an opportunity for the Lions maybe to play more games at Orlando. This could be another one of those moments where you bring the game to the grassroots.
You're right there. That's the thing. You've already made the hard yard.
Yeah.
You're already in Soweto. It's 2 streets away. You might as well just make the turn. The Lions play at Ellis Park. There's nothing wrong with taking 2 or 3 games to Orlando Stadium and saying, guys, this is for the people.
Yeah.
You're not going to lose much in terms of revenue, because you can even make it for free and make money elsewhere. But look, people make these decisions, and sometimes you wonder what informs them, because sometimes you need to understand that to grow the game, you need to think about the greater good, and you need to appeal to the bigger audience, which does not always have the money that you're always seeking.
And it's something that I've seen with other sports. I mean, I know the NFL, for example, will go play at Wembley in the UK just to build up that audience.
That's
These
it.
big basketball franchises will go and play a match in China just to build up those audiences. So there certainly has to be, I guess.
They're making a turn now, so it looks like they're going to make that 5-minute pit stop.
So they've probably figured that there's just no way they can't not do it.
Sensible pit stop. So I think it makes sense to just drive past for 5 minutes, even if you don't even get off the bus. Just a little drive past, just to show appreciation to the people who've spent the entire day waiting for you. They matter. They will support you, and you never know. Maybe the next year Kolisi is sitting next to Tabiso there at Sakumzi, not having a beer but waiting for Siya Kolisi to drive past.
And there he is, lifting the trophy, the Webb Ellis Trophy, World Cup, World Champions. And again, scenes that a few years ago they could not have imagined. Siya Kolisi probably never dreamed of being captain of the Springboks.
He never dreamed. Well, he would have liked to be, but I don't think he thought it was possible. When you look at the dynamics, there were other people also at that time. When he got into the Springbok team, there were people like Warren Whiteley, who was leading a very successful Lions team. So you would have thought other people would get the chance ahead of him. Dwayne van Meulen was rumored to be coming back. So Dwayne was already an established Springbok. So he was a bit low in the pecking order, and he wasn't. And unfortunately, the previous regime under Heineke Meyer had not given him the caps that he needed to be a senior player in the team. I think when he got the captaincy, he had less than 10 caps.
All right, you know what?
Yeah. All right. As you can see now, they're making their way into Vilakazi Street. Let us catch up now with our reporter, Tabiso Setolo. Tabiso, a lot of people were disappointed that the Springboks did not pass by at Vilakazi Street. So here they are, the champions at Vilakazi Street. What are the people saying?
Indeed, Palisa, I must tell you, it's the moment we're waiting for. The bus made a turn. In fact, it went past where we thought it was going to come through, drove past the streets. We expected to turn up into Vilakazi Street and went to Orlando Stadium. It has just left Orlando Stadium, as you can see at the bottom of the shot. There it is. That is the bus that a lot of people in Soweto have been waiting for, to see that Webb Ellis Cup trophy drive through the iconic Vilakazi Street. Remember, this Vilakazi Street is important for a couple of reasons. It's got 2 Nobel laureates. The house of Dr. Nelson Mandela is to the left of the shot, behind the camera as it were, and then just at the bottom, that is the home of Dr. Desmond Tutu. So quite iconic, and I think it would be a miss if the bus did not make a turn here. And from here, Balis, as you can see those pictures, our viewers at home can see, from here, this bus will be making its way just up to the Hector Peterson Memorial. Significance of Hector Peterson Memorial is that, well, Kolisi was born on June 16 as well, so quite important for the bus. As you can see, hordes of fans coming in. The bus is making its way slowly up the street. Hopefully we can get a glimpse. I'm going to ask my cameraman to zoom in a bit more so that we get a clearer picture of exactly who's in front. But Kolisi there being in front of the bus, on top of it carrying that Webb Ellis trophy. We've seen those pictures throughout the morning, stemming from the Union buildings all the way through to Braamfontein, central Johannesburg, through Tshwane, when they visited the mayor's office. Kolisi, well, basically the name on everyone's lips in as far as the Springboks is concerned. Well, there you have it. It's been a long morning. It's been a hectic morning, but this is the last stop of the Springboks Trophy Tour in Johannesburg anyway. Remember, from here it moves on to Durban, it also moves on to Cape Town, moves on to East London, as well as Port Elizabeth, where we're going to have more scenes such as these. Let's just soak it in a little bit, Balis. I want to keep quiet for now. I know it's not me you want to listen to. It's the people out there who are more important. And let's see how they feel as the bus drives up Vilakazi Street, the iconic Vilakazi Street, right here in Soweto.
Look at this. All right, so there you have it. I mean, these, Tando Palesa, these images speak volumes about where we are, what the potential of this country is actually, to see the national rugby team being celebrated in this way in Soweto today.
This is amazing. This is nice to see. This is nice to see the World Cup being brought to the street where 2 great leaders resided. Both leaders, the arch is probably smiling in Bishop's Court in Cape Town, being very proud of the boys who have done very well for the country. The Mandela family is also very proud of such moments where the team is respectful enough to bring the trophy to the spiritual home of the Mandela family. This is brilliant to see.
Yeah, way bigger than what we saw back in 1994.
Way bigger, and this is why people play the game. This is what Sia would have dreamed of as a kid.
So, I mean, the black players get this. They know this. This is their hood. They've grown up in this. I'm just wondering, the white players in this team, a lot of them are probably getting a really good sense of where some of their support is in the country. I won't say a wake-up call, but an awakening, I guess.
When Brent van Meulen said after the World Cup final, they asked him what he had said to Sia, and he said he had whispered in his ear that he was glad he saw Sia lift that trophy. Wow. He understands. This team, these guys understand. They consciously and they understand where the country is. And I think white people at the moment also understand how the country has transformed as a nation. If we're going to move forward, we need to have a change of mindset, and a lot of people have had a change of mindset. A lot of people have had that forward-thinking movement, whether it's in the office place or on the sporting field. The leaders, there is that change.
So, if again you've been watching the broadcast this afternoon and since this morning, we're coming to the tail end, and in many ways a spectacular end to the Bok Victory Parade that's been started in Pretoria. It's moved across Gauteng to Johannesburg and the inner city, and now to one of the most iconic townships on the continent, actually. And on the ground watching these images is Thabiso Sithole. Let's go to him now so that he can describe some of what he's feeling and what he's seeing there on Vilakazi Street in Soweto. Thabiso?
Well, Peter, as you can see, you just saw the bus drive past us a couple of seconds ago. In fact, it's going just up to another route, as I said, the Hector Peterson Memorial. There, of course, we've got facilities standing by as well to welcome the team, at the bus when it gets to that point. But you can see throngs of fans, throngs of supporters. They're still lining the streets right here on Vilakazi Street, all of them wanting to catch a glimpse. And of course, Kolisi being the man, the name on everyone's lips as far as this World Cup's concerned. And the symbolicness, Peter, as just sitting with him studio, the symbolism of this trophy coming up the street of Nelson Mandela, the street of Desmond Tutu.
All right, okay, so struggling with the signals there, but as I was saying a bit earlier on, you know, when you have so many people fighting for space on the communication system, these kinds of things can happen.
Yeah.
But as Thabiso was saying, Tando, it's emotional, you know, to see these images and just to get a sense of this historic moments that we're witnessing.
It has to be emotional for each and every South African, purely from a national pride point of view. But we also owe it to ourselves to carry on this momentum, to make sure we have many moments like this. We need to find many reasons to be proud of our nation, whether it's on a rugby field, whether it's on the business field, no matter where it is. We need to find reasons, good reasons to tell good stories of this beautiful country that we live in.
Right, so that's the Springbok team, their bus still tracing their way through Soweto there, and kids running alongside the bus, and one gets a sense that they also appreciating just how historic this moment is. So I'm very just excited to see these guys that have been talked about, that have been on the TV screens and that they'd heard named in some of the radio commentaries. And I heard one commentary, I think it was Sutu, and they were talking about Shampopo, Shampisi. It was brilliant.
That's part of sport. You need to have. I think if you're worth your salt, you need to have a nickname, and the good ones normally have nicknames. Yeah. So, like I said, Mapimpi has found many good places in people's hearts.
These are brilliant scenes.
Right, so they're heading to the OR Tambo International Airport now to catch their flight to Durban. So we'll be witnessing sort of similar scenes tomorrow in KwaZulu-Natal when they, of course, have that parade in that province tomorrow.
Yeah, these are fantastic scenes.
So Tando was saying earlier on, there might be a Kolisi there running behind the bus.
You just never know. Inspiration comes from the weirdest of places, and you should never underestimate small beginnings. You never know where the next Kolisi is coming from. Someone who was probably sitting there thinking, I want to be that and more. And this is where they're drawing inspiration. This is how they're going to get their wings. They want to be standing on a bus, a probably fancier bus than this, but you never know where the next superstar will be coming from.
Wow, what a moment for Kolisi. I mean, he's there on top of the bus at the moment, lifting this trophy, probably getting a workout there, growing his biceps a little bit more. But you know, you can't even imagine these moments, how they're going to feel. You hope to be there one day, but this is something really special for him.
It definitely is, and I think in the conversations the teams would have had, this is what they were talking about when they said they want to bring back pride into the nation. This is what they were talking about. None of them played in the 1995 World Cup, but they probably dreamt of something of this magnitude. They wanted to bring pride into a nation. They wanted to bring the nation together and make them feel proud just to be South African.
And it is a hard World Cup to win. I mean, this is a phenomenal achievement, and that sometimes we forget when we get caught up in the excitement. But these were warriors. When I saw them take their tops off, they were all bandaged up because they've been through war.
It is, from a conditioning perspective, you don't get to this level overnight. You go through a program, and it's quite an intense program, because even a guy like Kolisi, when he had his injury just before the international incoming tours in June, he went on a hectic program. I remember seeing him when I was down in Cape Town for the Red Bull Formula 1 exhibition, and he said to me, "Look, I'm 6 weeks away from playing," and I looked at him, and his knee was in a cast, and I'm like, "See, are you sure you're only 6 weeks away?" And I said, "Brah, I've got some hectic rehab program, but I am 6 weeks away just from playing, and best believe I'll be at the World Cup." The coach has spoken to me, and he said he will make sure that I'm at the World Cup. That's the thing. That's the faith Rassie Erasmus has had in his captain, and the relationship these two have had. Yeah. Man, I hope this has a beautiful ending if it ever ends. They have done something great. The two of them have led this country to a beautiful moment, and that's all we're looking for.
And we mustn't forget as well, and I was quite happy when on the field, when the pictures were being taken, it wasn't just the players.
Yeah.
Because it is everybody around them that makes it possible for them.
There's the moment where Brian Abana, who was working for the BBC, Sia was going around the field, and he met Brian on his victory lap, and he had this big hug, because Brian knows Sia very well. They played together at the Stormers. Sia made his Springbok debut when Brian was still at the Springboks, and he knows the Sia Ntanda Kolisi story very well. You remember he addressed the Laureus membership this one time, and he talked about how he had privilege, because when he was growing up, he used to choose what brand of boots he'd want his father to buy him, and he said Sia didn't have that privilege. Sia sometimes would go to bed hungry, but Sia had the resolute mind to stay focused and keep on dreaming that one day he'd be something great, and to see him lead now, and it's inspirational stuff. You need to understand the context of this leader. This is not just any leader. He's not like a John Smith. He's not like a Francois Pienaar, who come from relative privilege. He really has done well as a person, and he's an inspiration, not just to the rich and the poor. He's an inspiration to a country that is in need of a good story to tell.
Yeah, talking about leaders, we understand that Parliament is also set to pay their congratulatory